23 is for forfeit. Rushing waves, sharp voices, and whistling wind. It hit Haruhi all at once, overwhelming her senses after the silence of the depths. Haruhi tried orientating herself. Where were the docks? Land? How far out had they drifted during the underwater struggles? She'd been swimming wildly, unsure if she'd been racing in circles or not. Not so far away, Asuma-sensei bobbed between the waves, his expression more fitting on a startled owl. "What the hell did you do?" he spluttered. A spray slapped Haruhi's face, and she spat out a mouthful of seawater, dragging wet strands of hair from her eyes. "They're there!" Haruhi turned in the water, catching sight of the docks in the distance, but unable to tell who had called. There was a crowd by the mill. Kakashi-sensei was on the water, Zabuza too, but she couldn't see Sasuke, Naruto. Could they be in the crowd? Asuma-sensei climbed up and stood on the water like it was frozen again, but there was no way Haruhi could copy that now. Her Sharingan was not turning on anytime soon. She'd just swim then, but Haruhi hardly got 3 strokes towards the shore before Asuma-sensei huffed. "Unbelievable," he muttered under his breath, somewhere between amused and wary. "You can do that sort of bullshit, but not water walk?" Asuma-sensei crouched and lifted her out of the water, helping her onto his back. From this higher vantage point, Haruhi could see better. "Haruhi!" Relief flared, and Haruhi's head whipped towards Sasuke's voice. Her cousin climbed out of the water with his Sharingan activated, weighed down but able to stand atop the surface like Asuma-sensei. "You got out." His words were more clipped than ever, a sure sign he'd been stressing. "I did. I'm fine. We both are." Haruhi waved, her smile faltering when she noticed Naruto. Sasuke was dragging their teammate out of the water, all the while watching the surface with the sharp trepidation of someone who expected sharks. With some difficulty, he got the blonde onto his back. "Naruto! What happened?" She'd never seen him so still. It was wrong. Naruto was cut, with blood streaked down his cheek and chest, straining Sasuke's shirt. Though at the sound of her voice, Naruto lifted his hand slightly, giving her a shaky thumbs up. "Haruhi, we were saving ya," he groaned. "Tsk," Sasuke huffed. He got hit, then the ice disappeared and he almost drowned. Asuma-sensei picked up speed. "Take him to the docks, Sasuke." Sasuke nodded sharply. Choji and Shikamaru were in the water under the docks, trying to climb up the poles like half-drowned cats. They couldn't water walk any more than Haruhi could. She was dropped onto the dock, where the touch of solid ground under her feet shouldn't have felt as good, but it did. Asuma-sensei then helped to get Naruto on land too before going out on the water again. Tazuna, Tsunami, and Inari were clustered near the mill, shaken but alive. From a glance, the worst damage to them was a red spot on Tsunami's cheek, while the demon brothers were tied to a lamppost behind them. Choji heaved a leg over the edge of the dock, clambering over with little grace and rolling onto solid land, groaning and miserably wet. Shikamaru had an easier time, using the tree-walking exercise up the posts. Haruhi bent down next to Naruto, grimacing. "Are you really okay?" Sasuke checked her over. "I'm fine," she insisted. "And you?" "Of course." With a nod, Sasuke jumped back onto the ocean and followed Asuma, because... "So you got out," Zabuza mused. This wasn't over yet. Out on the water, Zabuza faced Kakashi-sensei, clutching the broken hilt of his sword, chest heaving and looking quite pissed off. A dark-haired teen climbed out of the water next to Zabuza. It was that pretty girl from earlier, the one who tricked them. "What the fuck happened, Haku?" The teen, Haku, stood half-crouched on the water's surface, staring at the empty bay with a look of pure disbelief, hands trembling. I don't know, Zabuza-sama. My ice, it vanished. All of it. This is the power of the Sarutobi, Zabuza said, glaring at Asuma. I believe it was the Uchiha, Haku corrected. Shock dilated Zabuza's pupils. He couldn't understand how it had been done. None of them did. I'm fed up with your clan's bullshit, Zabuza cursed, glancing from Sasuke to rest on Haruhi. His brows furrowed, head tilted in evaluation. You certainly are family. Uchihas. The demon of the mist spat. Fucking reality benders. Huh? Haku asked, following Zabuza's line of sight, seeming to have mistaken Sasuke for the spellcaster. What? It was the other one? Zabuza frowned, gaze flittering away from Haruhi to Sasuke again. Him? I assumed, but I can't say for sure. I'm sorry, Zabuza, Haku murmured. Vetjutsu. My ice was defenseless against it. I failed my purpose. His quiet voice was heavy with shame. Haruhi didn't get it. At worst, Haku had gone for a swim because Haruhi vanished the ice. I'll deal with you later, Zabuza dismissed, as if deeming Haku useless for failing to defend against magic. He pointed his broken sword hilt at Haruhi. And who the fuck are you, girl? A sharp laugh from the mill made Haruhi look up. She's the witch of the Uchiha! Ino stood on the roof of the mill, watching over him like she was on a stage. With a bloody hand clutching her throat, she sneered at the Mist Nuknin. If you don't watch it, Haruhi will make you disappear the same she did with the ice. She'll revert you like she did the mill, and then Kakashi-sensei, Asuma-sensei and Sasuke-kun will tear what's left apart. Ino was shaking with rage, the collar of her shirt bloody. It was so off to see her this upset. For all of Ino's bravado, Haruhi probably didn't look that intimidating. Shivering, sopping wet, and stuck on land because she didn't know water walking. Haruhi was no one's ideal of an intimidating ninja witch. But damn it, they didn't need to know she couldn't repeat that feat. None of them knew the limits of magic. Some might guess, but they didn't know. Haruhi lifted her chin and glared. She'd make do, hoping Naruto was right to say she looked like a vampire when angry. Your client is drowning. Shikamaru's voice cut through the tension. Everyone else glanced out towards the bay, so Haruhi followed their line of sight. Squinting, she spotted small shadows bobbing up and down in the water, very far out. Had people been that far out on the ice when it disappeared? Oh. Haruhi swallowed, her stomach churning unpleasantly. Gato was out on the brink of the ice, and the ocean is deep and dangerous there. Gato might have already drowned. Shikamaru continued, crouching low on the edge of the docks, words intense but his posture slouched, weirdly controlled for such a mess. What are you going to do now? Sasuke cast Shikamaru an irritated look. Her cousin seemed offended Shikamaru would ask them at all, as if it wasn't up to them. Like he just wanted to keep fighting. Venara didn't heed his input in the slightest. Your legendary sword is broken. Asuma-sensei and Haruhi are back. We can dismantle Haku's ice entirely. You're 2 soldiers down and your ambush traps won't work anymore. You are going to lose. And for what? Shikamaru said matter of fact, hard eyes looking coldly at Zabuza as he laid out the reality of the situation. Well, partly. Shikamaru was making some assumptions regarding Haruhi there. She likely couldn't use another spell for a bit, but that wasn't the point. The threat was enough. The bluff itself had value. As we speak, your paycheck is sinking to the bottom of the ocean, and if you save him, Gato already proved he'll just rob you. Quite a bad business deal. Haruhi's gaze met the teen's, Haku. The ice user looked back warily, almost fragile. Repentance was painted across a very beautiful face. Big brown doe eyes shiny with unhappiness. Haruhi sneered. Haku almost killed her and Asuma-sensei. And what happened to Naruto? It wasn't only tension rising in the air. Mist was forming across the ocean too. Zabuza looked like he was doing a lot of thinking very fast, before he stepped back into the thickening mist. Should have charged Gato extra for drowning. The contract's dead. I don't kill for free. Haku, we're leaving. You're leaving Wave, giving up on this, Kakashi-sensei called. There's always another mission, Zabuza dismissed, which Haruhi assumed was his roundabout way of saying, yes, I give up. What? Sasuke snarled, looking hard at Kakashi-sensei when he didn't move. We have the advantage! If they don't target Tazuna anymore, there's no reason to keep fighting, Sasuke, Kakashi-sensei said without taking his eyes off the Nuke Nins, at the ready if it was another trap. After what they've done, they almost drowned Haruhi, and they robbed us. Now we just let them wander off when we have the upper hand? It's a mission, brat. You're only here because of a contract, same as me, Zabuza growled. You're not a true shinobi. You're a sniveling child, throwing a fit about your sister getting herself caught. If you want to be a useful little boy, go dive after your teddy bear. If you can. Or maybe the ocean will consume you too. The most dangerous demon in the water isn't ninjas. It's the depths itself. And it hungers. Sasuke gritted his teeth, Sharingan spinning, but Kakashi-sensei held out a hand, signaling them to hold. Haku moved to his side as the demon brothers broke into protests. Zabuza! One of the brothers shouted, pushing against their restraints. It was then that Haruhi realized the demon brothers were tied up with more than just rope. Their own chains were used to restrain them too, and those were poisoned. He knew it too. Even in the struggles, he moved carefully. What about us, Zabuza? The weak drown, Zabuza dismissed. Let's go, Haku. Haruhi stayed tense, every nerve bracing for another ambush. It could be a bluff. The mist swallowed Zabuza and Haku, too dense and too thick to see through. And when Asuma used the wind ninjutsu to blast the mist away, they were gone. The ocean was open, the demon brothers were swearing up a storm, and Sasuke was not happy. Fighting them was never our mission, Sasuke, Kakashi-sensei reminded him. They made themselves our mission, Sasuke exclaimed in frustration, gesturing towards the bay. Even if they are worse off, we're not in top shape either. Ino and Naruto are wounded. Haruhi was underwater too long, Kakashi chastised him. Don't misunderstand me. Stay alert. But there's no need to fight if they're not targeting Tazuna anymore. Momochi's a dangerous mercenary, but he's not suicidal. He's smart enough to see when he's in a bad position, and the best choice for them was to retreat. Sensei's arguments were hard for Sasuke to dispute, even if it did little to lift his spirits. Besides, Kakashi-sensei gestured to the water. We do not have an experienced enough team to pursue them. And look around you. It's not just thugs that fell into the sea. Some of the civilians got dragged out on the ice too. Come on, we need to get people out of the water. Haruhi couldn't help with that and remained on the docks with Naruto. Ino climbed down from the roof while Choji, with an unexpected strictness, made them sit down because you got injured. Despite insisting she was fine, they didn't believe her. So why aren't you making Asuma-sensei sit here too? But they ignored that, and Haruhi was ordered to stay put with Naruto and Ino, the injured crowd, so Choji and Shikamaru could watch over him at the same time as the demon brothers. In the meanwhile, the few able to water walk fished civilians out of the sea. Naruto was covered in cuts, puncture wounds, and blood, but slightly better than she first assumed. She'd never seen him as still and limp as when Sasuke dragged him out of the water, but he was already sitting by his own accord. Choji noticed the same. "You are perking up quickly, Naruto. Maybe you should lie down?" "Nah, I'm fine," Naruto said, already returning to his fidgety, impatient self. Haruhi wasn't sure why she'd been lumped with the injured. Sure, she nearly drowned, but she wasn't injured. Not a scratch, actually. But she was a little nauseous and tired, her chakra unbalanced. Skirting death was tiring, and the adrenaline crash was a bitch. Haruhi watched Sasuke drag a woman onto land, eye-snapping amongst the waves for signs of enemies. They worked efficiently on the water, while the crowd on the docks were coming down from their adrenaline too. People were sitting down, relieved, some scared, but there was a cautious hopefulness in the air. Then, when Kakashi Sensei came back, he broke the news it seemed everyone had been waiting for. "The current out there is pretty dangerous, so it looks like Gato's amongst the ones who drowned, as well as most of his crew." "Gato's really dead?" Dazuna asked, hardly daring to believe it. "Yes." There was a hushed shock, the news sinking in while people looked at each other with bated breath. Then, "Woo!" Inari whooped, and once he started, everyone broke into cheers. Relief and boisterous laughter broke out. Some hugged, some cried, and some people picked up rocks and threw it into the ocean as if wanting to send Gato off with one last hit goodbye. Haruhi peered over the ocean, hands fidgeting with her soggy shirt sleeve. Gato had spent his life causing misery. Haruhi hadn't had many options when she vanished the ice, but she hadn't even known he was on it. Hell, she didn't even know what the guy looked like. She'd seen some thugs, but couldn't tell which of them might have been Gato. She didn't feel bad, but should she? Haruhi was a ninja. Killing or being killed was an expected part of the gig. But this outcome hadn't even been a choice, it was an accident. This was worse, almost, in the unintended way. A lack of control and intent. People shouldn't just die as collateral accidents in the wake of ninja destruction. Not even the terrible ones. Shikamaru removed his bolero jacket and wrung it out of water. It splashed onto the timber, dripping between the cracks into the ocean below. "What happened while I was under the ice?" Haruhi asked. Despite suffering from a throat injury, Ino started explaining. It sounded pretty bad. From Ino nearly getting her neck sliced open to what Haku did to Naruto, and to learn that attack had been aimed at Sasuke. If Naruto hadn't been there... Ino gave an efficient play-by-play which ended with a thoughtful, "All things considered, we're lucky. It could have gone so much worse. None of us expected a bloodline user. We didn't expect A-rank enemies at all. But speaking of the unexpected, did you notice Haku was a boy? If he wasn't an evil Nukenin, I'd ask what his hair routine was." What? It wasn't just Haruhi who was confused. Naruto and Choji joined in her bewilderment. "Haku was a guy?" Naruto exclaimed. "But he's prettier than Sakura-chan!" Ino pursed her lips. "Yeah, he's the only one I've seen who could rival Sasuke in his looks." The two blondes exchanged looks, something like agreement about Haku's good looks passing between them. Red-faced, Choji shook his head. "I didn't notice she was a guy," Haruhi said, then corrected. "He was a guy." "Haku didn't look as graceful after going for his swim." Ino smirked, then eyed the rest. "Not that you guys reacted much better." "I'm sorry about making you go for the swim too." Haruhi tried for a wry smile. "Tch," Shikamaru said. The ice just vanished under our feet, no warning. One moment it was there, next it was ocean. Only Zabuza and Kakashi Sensei were able to catch themselves. Haku went under too, though I think that was from shock. He was so calm and sure up to that moment, and then couldn't fathom it. Haruhi smiled, a little sheepish. Now you're all soaked, like a pack of wet dogs, Ino smirked. She might be injured, but she was dry, which not a single other ninja here could claim. Dogs? Really? Shikamaru grumbled, unimpressed. You don't like dogs? Haruhi asked, picking up on his tone. Shikamaru never sounded impressed by much of anything, but there might be some dismissiveness there. Not really. Huh. Haruhi felt the remaining uncertainty leave her, any lingering doubt shredding off with one sentence. That sealed the deal. With or without memories, there was no way Shikamaru could be seriously born. Haruhi was certain that no matter the life or face or world, Sirius would be drawn to his spirit animal. Right then and there, she decided this would be her first question for any further suspects. Do you like dogs? So simple. So obvious. Why hadn't she started with that? A blend of relief and exasperation churned in her stomach, and Haruhi shook her head, smiling at her own stupidity. Way to overcomplicate everything. What about you, Choji? Dogs or cats? Choji looked apologetically at Shikamaru. I guess dogs? Now that she'd started, Haruhi might as well cover all her tracks. Naruto, dogs or cats? Dogs! Ino? Cats, actually. Haruhi turned to Tazuna. What about you? Me? Dogs. I grew up with them. For the hell of it, she looked over at the tied-up captives. What about you two? Cats or dogs? As if you'd reveal anything, bitch. Bitch is a female dog. Since you're using it as a go-to insult, I guess that means you prefer cats. Haruhi nodded. The other brother frowned, taking just the tiniest pause, and glanced at the cat brother. Cats? Really? What, are you a bitch lover, Mizu? Naruto burst out laughing. How can you already be this restless? Ino asked warily, sitting very still while Choji bandaged her neck. You looked dead minutes ago. It's fine, Naruto shrugged. Just keep moving and it'll be fine. You should try it, Spacey Brain. Stop calling me that. And what do you mean, it'll be fine? Naruto gestured at her bandages. I think air is better than those bandages. It's necessary. It stops the bleeding. It prevents the healing. Naruto disagreed. When I get hurt, I wait and it goes away. Shikamaru's brows rose. Haruhi grabbed Naruto's arm, bringing the wound closer to her face for a closer inspection. In any other setting, Haruhi would assume Naruto's cut was a few days old, despite knowing it hadn't been there an hour ago. It should look like Ino's, not this. You can use healing jutsu? Why didn't you tell us? Haruhi exclaimed. This was some Madame Pomfrey levels of healing right there. And on sealless? Huh? Naruto shook his head. No, I'm not doing anything. Naruto? A healer? Ino asked in disbelief. But how else? Haruhi asked and pointed at Naruto. You have to do something. I'm not. You are. We have eyes. Since when did you get shy? I swear I'm not being shy. Why'd I be shy? What? But then it's passive? Haruhi breathed, a wave of something that might be jealousy coursing through her stomach. You heal without... what? Without trying? Can't everyone? Holy shit. No. They all chorused. What? No! Don't try to trick me! Naruto was getting irritated now. As long as you're not dead, wounds go away. It just does. It's how skin works and all. Yes, over the span of days or weeks, not minutes. Ino pointed at her neck. This sort of thing will probably take weeks to heal. Naruto was as perplexed with that as the rest were at him. What? Really? For something that small? He looked at his hands. No way! They should be gone in a couple hours, tops! What are you talking about? Choji scratched his chin, watching Naruto bemused. Ino almost had her throat slit. That's a sensitive area too. Your neck wounds aren't acting right, but hers is? I hope I don't get a scar. That'd be so ugly. Ino realized with some grumbling. Her eyes suddenly went wide and she glanced sheepishly at Haruhi. No offense, it just doesn't fit my style, you know? Haruhi waved it off, her mind too preoccupied with what Naruto had just said to make some quip about how annoying it was when enemies aimed for the neck up. Makeup only went so far. Can you regenerate? Haruhi asked Naruto. No. Then what are you doing to heal? If it could be replicated by someone with as bad a chakra balance as him, why couldn't others? Was it that hard if Naruto could manage it accidentally? She wanted that more than she wanted to admit. How should I know? He threw his arms in the air. I just let it be and it goes away. Let's test this. Shikamaru bent down next to Naruto and drew a kunai. Hey, what are you doing, Shika? Even if it'll heal up, you can't just stab me for some creepy experimental stuff. Shikamaru grumbled. Sit still so I don't cut you. I'm not going to stab you. Give me your arm. I'm going to measure the cut. Gingerly, Naruto allowed Shikamaru to lay his kunai with the blade flat against his forearm. But it wasn't a normal kunai. It had notched engravings along the blade. You have a measuring kunai? Haruhi realized. The scratches along the edge of the blade were lines and numbers, just like a ruler. Why? So you can know how deep you've stabbed? She asked. Pretty much. So you go, the blood only covers up to the 3 centimeter line, and that means I didn't plunge it deep enough to hit the heart? Haruhi asked, finding the mental image morbid but slightly amusing too. You get it, and it's versatile. Shikamaru paused, giving her a wary look Haruhi didn't get. Like this. This wound is 7.8 centimeter long. Let's see how big it is at the end of the day, or in a couple hours. This is already scarred over. It might be gone if we wait to the end of the day. You know, we should measure yours too. It won't be perfect, but we can use it to roughly compare healing rates. Ino untied the bandages again, playing along. When Shikamaru went to measure, Haruhi asked, Where did you get that kunai? A clan armory, he answered. Why? I have a friend who'd love it, and her birthday is coming up. Can I buy one from your clan for that? Sure, Shikamaru said slowly, and then asked, For a friend? Yeah. Haruhi nodded, unsure what to make of his tone. Did Shikamaru worry this was another round of weird questions again? She should clarify then. Her name's Shiho. I've been meaning to introduce you to. You have a lot in common. Though for some reason, that only made Shikamaru look more confused. He and Ino exchanged a look. Why did she seem puzzled too? Ino pursed her lips before asking in a concluding sort of way, Because she likes cats? I just can't find it, Kakashi-sensei said, shaking seawater from his hair. He padded up the rocky shore to sit down with a sigh on a boulder. Asuma-sensei put his cigarette to his lips, inhaling until the tip glowed. Shikamaru didn't stir from his napping place, though Choji looked up from his cards, pausing the card game he'd been playing with Sasuke and Naruto. Since the boys had invited them to play, Haruhi and Ino had been off to the side. Their sandals kicked off to sprawl in the grass, whispering and giggling as they compared silly knitting patterns. It irritated the boys, which only made it funnier. At least until Kakashi-sensei returned. 5 days had passed since the dockside battle. Zabuza and Haku were gone without a trace. But even in death, Gato remained a problem. The shipping magnate and his crew ran all the way out to the brink of the ice before it disappeared. Safe to say, Gold wasn't very good at floating. Haruhi hadn't meant to kill them. Several days later, Haruhi still didn't know how to feel about her first kill. Kills. Unintended and unknown. But Haruhi'd been the one to cast the spell that vanished the ice. If nothing else, Haruhi hoped Gato died happy. In the end, he got what he wanted, clutching the gold as he sank into the sea. Volvet left Team 7 a major headache and a futile search. That golden statue was the whole reason they were here. Their mission was to return it to the princess. But Zabuza was proving correct about the depths. The ocean was powerful. They had no exact location for where Gato had gone under, only a rough estimate. And that estimate happened to be right where the ocean floor plunged steep and deep, with sharp points, twisting rocks, and depths so deep no sunlight reached. The pressure at those depths was so immense that Jonin struggled. Even when chakra enhanced, the immense pressure of the water meant no dive surge lasted longer than a quick up and down. Most striking jutsu were useless underwater too, and with next to no visibility, they were basically floundering blind down there. They'd been doing it for 5 days, but like Gato, it seemed the treasure too was lost to the sea. Our first C-rank mission failed after all, Haruhi sighed, putting down her pins. I'm afraid so, Kakashi-sensei hummed. Look on the bright side. Our mission succeeded, Ino said happily, looking up from her knitting. Ino had come to the same conclusion as Haruhi, that sometimes missions came with long stretches of waiting around doing nothing, and knitting was a wonderful time killer, so she was knitting new arm warmers. Gato is gone, Ino listed off. The wave mill is working and the bridge will be done in a few weeks. Yesterday little Inari was out playing, you know. I didn't think that sad little kid could smile, but he was having fun playing ninja. Tazuna-san is really happy. He should be happy, Naruto grumbled. It's good that one client is pleased, because the princess sure won't be, Haruhi agreed, able to hide most of the bite. Not when she learns her golden teddy bear is at the bottom of the sea. Think of it like this. If one had to fail, which one would you pick? Kakashi-sensei asked. Ours, Naruto admitted. Haruhi nodded. Good, then you've learned something important. Kakashi-sensei smiled. A real one. This isn't going to be the last time we are faced with hard choices. But to know what is right and to choose to ignore it is the act of a coward. Don't let a failed mission tell you otherwise. Naruto puffed out his chest, Sasuke smirked, and Haruhi felt herself straighten a bit too. Considering how things went, Haruhi wasn't sure she could have done much different. Well, she could have fought with her backpack on. That was one lesson learned, to never drop her gear. But the rest? Not really. The mission was sacred. And yet, not more sacred than the life of her team. The Shinobi Code said otherwise, but Haruhi pretended she didn't remember that. Though some things still seem slightly unfair. Everyone from Konoha had worked as a unit during this, only for Team 10's mission to succeed at Team 7's expense. But, as Kakashi-sensei challenged, would she want it the other way around? No. That'd mean Tazuna would be dead so Team 7 could have that golden teddy. That wasn't a fair trade-off. If she had to choose which mission mattered less, it was obviously Team 7's. Still, it would have been nice if they could both have turned out successful. It just sucks, Haruhi sighed. After all this effort, 5 days out here, we've got nothing to show for it. Not entirely, Joji reminded her. We learned tree walking and water walking. I guess there's that. Sasuke had copied water walking from Kakashi-sensei, and Haruhi wasn't far behind once her chakra stabilized. Since Haruhi and Sasuke knew it, they were sent off to work while the others trained. Haruhi had been guarding Tazuna at the bridge, because even if they didn't expect ninja attacks anymore, Team 10's mission was ongoing, while Sasuke guarded their prisoners. Though thoroughly secured, the Demon Brothers needed constant supervision anyway. That left the other 4 getting to learn water walking with one teacher, while the 3 Jonin dived after the gold. Haruhi snorted. But do you really think the princess will care about that? Maybe. Surely she'll be glad no one died at least, Choji said. Haruhi wanted to believe him, but the more pessimistic side suspected the princess valued her trinket more than the well-being of people that weren't even from her own country. Naruto gulped. We're not gonna get paid, are we? No, Haruhi said. Ah! Naruto glared angrily at the ocean. One day I'll defeat you! Did you just challenge the sea? Ino laughed, her hands moving in repetitive knitting patterns as she smirked at Naruto. My money's on the water. If it can defeat Kakashi-sensei and Asuma-sensei, you stand no chance. I don't care how fast you heal, there are limits. Ino's got a point. The ocean is really so massive. Haruhi trailed off. She had tried to Akio the golden teddy bear from the ocean, but it failed again. Her Protego and Evanesco worked, but Akio failed her twice, so she'd experimented. Haruhi tried a spell on her yellow yarn and it flew into her hands from across the room. The next day, Haruhi gave the yarn to Naruto while he was off water walking training, and tried to summon it from afar, but that time she failed. It confirmed what she suspected. Haruhi needed to see what she was casting at. Without a visible aim, the spell didn't seem to target correctly. We're going to pack up and leave empty-handed? Haruhi asked Kakashi-sensei. More or less. We'll take the Demon Brothers with us to the capital, explain what happened, and hand them over to the princess. He listed off succinctly. Then return to Konoha and report. Maybe not all of it, Asuma-sensei said, flickering his cigarette lightly, so a crumble of ash fell onto the rocky shore. Kakashi-sensei tilted his head. Right. Asuma-sensei glanced from sensei to Haruhi, a brow arched pointedly. There are certain things we agreed should be kept off the official reports. We should make it clear to the kids before we split up tomorrow. You want us to explain now? Kakashi-sensei nodded. Alright. Wake up, Shika! Ino yelled. Shikamaru grunted in response. I said wake up! Shikamaru grunted again. That means he's listening, Choji translated. Haruhi plucked up her water bottle and offered it to Ino. Try waterboarding. Used to work on my brother. I'm up. Shikamaru heaved himself up with a barely audible trouble. Kakashi-sensei sighed. You've done some lighter mission reports for D-ranks, but they're more extensive for missions outside the village. A lot of details are required for those. However, there's a line. In some instances, you must evaluate if some details are better left unreported. Like what? Ino asked, perplexed. We use those reports for research, for analysis of regions and abilities. The more details, the better. We do that, true, Kakashi-sensei said. But some matters are less complicated if allowed to go under the radar, at least for a little while. What are we supposed to keep secret? Haruhi asked. Kakashi-sensei tilted his head and I smiled. You? Me? Haruhi's heart sank. Why? Because I lost to Teddy? Haruhi's decisions had actually been involved the 2 times that Teddy got lost. Haruhi dropped the backpack, leaving it unprotected for Haku to steal. Then the second time she vanished the ice and it sank to the bottom of the sea. Asuma-sensei shook his head. Not that. No, but we think it's better if what Haruhi did with the ice in the wave mill goes unreported, Kakashi-sensei said casually. Why? Ino asked, confused. Both of those are very useful in ninjutsu. If we took it out of the reports, the mission desks won't know. And if they don't know, Haruhi can't be assigned missions where her abilities are needed, because they won't know to ask for her. That's part of the problem, Ino, Asuma-sensei said, taking another drag. He looked over at the sea, squinting towards the sun. Just, some game pieces are more coveted than others. And there are some who'd argue the abilities Haruhi displayed on this mission makes her a piece whose abilities could be used in ways she's not ready for. Ino's eyes trailed to the ground, her brow pinched. Ugh, Shikamaru huffed. That doesn't sound ominous at all. A sliver of a shiver crept up Haruhi's spine. She'd never broadcasted her magic, but she also hadn't tried to hide it. Most treated her talk of magic and witches as a joke, and she allowed them that misconception, all the while trusting a true witch or wizard wouldn't dismiss it out of hand any more than Haruhi had. But complete secrecy was never in the cards. If she did that, how was she supposed to find Sirius? How would he find her? She's a rookie genin. Ino put her knitting down, giving Asuma-sensei her full attention. Who are these people? Some who've been around a while, Kakashi-sensei said, purposefully vague. When Haruhi glanced at Sasuke, he was turning away, jaw set. There are some in Konoha who don't view ninja as people. A bit like Zabuza. He reminds me of the sort who don't view the young ones as students, but weapons. Asuma-sensei mused. To some extent, they're correct. We are weapons, but we are also human. We can't ignore either side, but that's what they do. Kakashi-sensei frowned. True. They'd argue the betterment of the village is more paramount than the well-being of our soldiers. But those sorts of missions are not something a rookie genin should be forced into, no matter how unique her Sharingan might be. Haruhi blinked. It's hard to explain, but maybe I don't need to. I wonder, did you kids notice how Zabuza treated Haku? Could you tell it was different than what you're used to? Asuma-sensei mused. Zabuza used him, Shikamaru drawled. Haku was not a student like we are your students. Not his apprentice, not even a teammate. Haku's a tool. Zabuza showed more regard for his sword than he did Haku. I expect the only reason he keeps Haku around is his bloodline. Because Haku can do something Zabuza can never replicate. He needs it to some extent. Spot on, Shikamaru. But that isn't actually a unique thing, Asuma-sensei explained. I've seen similar things happen inside Konoha. For real? Naruto asked, his voice strained. That can't be right. Konoha are not like those crazy Miss Ninja. We were never told to kill our friends to graduate. We're not barbaric, Ino agreed with venom. Do you mean the bloodline stuff? Haruhi asked. People coveting bloodlines. That has always been the case for us, as it's no secret I'm an Uchiha. It's always been a risk. I know. Sasuke knows. This isn't new. This is all she knew. The Sharingan can do a bunch of things others can't replicate, so we've always known there are those who want to use us, and even more who'd want us dead. What's the big difference now? Oh, good. Kakashi-sensei's shoulders slumped as if in relief. You get it then. But Haruhi wasn't sure she did. So why did Sensei look like the topic was over? Like a chore dusted and done. Haruhi turned to the other adult. Asuma-sensei's lips curved into a wry smile, his eyes darting from Sensei to Sasuke to Haruhi. Okay, this might not be obvious to people with certain backgrounds. But just because you already had this problem doesn't mean another layer can't add complications. Perhaps this hypothetical risk that sounds like another version of something you're already dealing with doesn't seem like much, but just let's not add to it, alright? Asuma says he tapped his cigarette, a scattering of ash falling into the sandy gravel. That's all this really is. We don't mean for any of you to lie, but for this mission report, don't go into details, and instead just leave it at Harui and I broke through the ice and were able to rejoin the fight. Team 7 left at dawn the next day. Tsunami had packed them lunches the evening before, and Tazuna got up early to bid them farewell while Team 10 slept. I can't thank you enough for your help. I realize that, all things considered, I'm the luckiest client there ever was. I'm sorry about how your mission turned out, but if it makes up anything, Land of Wave is thankful. We won't forget what you did for us. The protection, fixing the mill, the ninjas, and even Gato. All of it. Things would not have worked out if Team 7 hadn't joined us. I wish you could stay until the bridge was finished, but I guess you've got to leave. We're already a week delayed, Kakashi-sensei said, holding the end of the chain, keeping the Demon Brothers in check like it was a dog leash. Kona's going to send out a search party soon if we don't report in. Of course, Tazuna nodded. But before you go, I wanted to tell you the name of the bridge. Before the opening? Sasuke asked. I'm only telling you, so keep it a secret, will you? Don't want to spoil the surprise for the others. Tazuna said as he pushed his glasses up his nose, letting the tension build for a couple seconds before declaring with hushed significance, it's going to be called the Great Golden Bear Bridge. Eh? Naruto looked lost. Built as a symbol of Wave's endurance and tenacity, a bridge built over the sunken treasures lost to the waves below. A symbol our endurance overcame the money-hungry and corrupt. Tazuna explained his logic. I'm working on making a bear statue for it, in Timbervale. A bear eating a fish. Maybe your mission didn't succeed, but your C rank will never be forgotten, immortalized in our bridge for freedom. A huge smile broke across Naruto's face and he laughed. Wow, then I love that name. Harui chuckled. That actually helped. In some ways it was even better. Not for Team 7's clients, maybe, but for Wave, it made this mission feel less like a waste. I can't wait to come back and see it one day, Harui told him and bowed farewell. Tazuna's bow was much deeper. And you'll always be welcome.